morning, everyone. This is Al coming to you once again for Kindred Souls of Brooklyn. And today, I want to talk about the iconic ice cream parlor Jahn's that we all know and love. So stand by and stay tuned for an awesome video on Jahn's Ice Cream Parlor. Well, folks, it all started in 1897 when a German family emigrated from Germany and came over to New York and opened up the first Jahn's over in the Bronx, New York. And that store just from the beginning was a big hit. And then as time went on, more and more Jahn's opened up across the Bronx at first. Then they ventured into Queens and Brooklyn, all over the place. I don't think there was any in Staten Island. I don't remember there being one, although there might have been one. I don't remember, but I think there were definitely all over Brooklyn. In fact, the one that I used to go to mostly was the one on Church Avenue in Flatbush. I also went on the one to the one on Garrettson Avenue and on Knapp Street, which is right near Kings Plaza. So there were quite a few Jahn's out there. And what were they known the most for? Their signature thing, the kitchen sink. Now, folks, talk about a gut buster. I mean, this kitchen sink has been often imitated, but totally and really never duplicated. If you think about what was in there, first off, they'd get this big silver bowl with these big ladles in it that were like the scoops. And what they would do is they would put 30 scoops of ice cream in there. Now, Jahn's had maybe like 15 or 20 different flavors of ice cream. They had all the big favorites. They had chocolate, vanilla, cherry vanilla, mint, butterscotch. I remember all kinds of like a Rocky Road type of thing. So they would get 30 scoops of this ice cream, and I'll put up a picture of it right now to show you what it looks like. They would get 30 scoops of this ice cream, and they'd put that in this big silver bowl, a huge bowl. In fact, the bowl, what it always reminded me of when I went and I got it with my friends, was kind of like the flower pots that you'd see outside of some of the old houses in Brooklyn. They put it like right outside, and there'd be like a big flower pot. It was literally the circumference of that. So what they would do is they would put these 30 scoops of ice cream in there. Typically, they would put like 2 scoops of every flavor that they had. But if you wanted to tell them which ones you wanted in there, they would do all vanilla if you wanted it. So first it would start off with all the scoops of ice cream. And then after that, they would put all these syrups and sauces through there. Chocolate syrup and strawberry syrup, kind of like painted all on there. And then once they did that, they would put like whatever toppings you wanted. Typically, people would get like banana split type of stuff. So they would get like, they would get bananas, and they would cut maybe like 4 or 5 bananas and drop them inside of this whole concoction. And they weren't done yet. Then what they would do, they would pretty much get what seemed to be an entire can of whipped cream, and they'd put this whipped cream all on the top of it. Then they would get sprinkles, throw all kinds of like rainbow sprinkles all on the top of it. Then after that, they would get a bunch of maraschino cherries and put the maraschino cherries on top of it. And if that wasn't enough, when they brought it out to you, I guess they had some kind of flambe thing in the middle of it somehow. And when it came out, they actually lit a flame to it. So when they walked it over to you, the thing was flaming, which was kind of cool because it was ice cream. And once they sat down, once they put it on the table, now typically I think you couldn't really, they tended to want it, like if it was especially a bunch of kids, they wouldn't let like 2 kids order it. You had to have at least like 8 kids with you, because I know when I used to bowl on Church Avenue at Diplomat Lanes, we used to walk around the corner to Jahn's, which was on Church Avenue and Flatbush, which was right around the corner. And there was Kenmore Lanes right there. You had the RKO Kenmore right down the block. Ethan Allen Furniture was right next to Jahn's. I'll try to throw a picture up there of that as well. But that was the one that I always went to. So when we went to that Jahn's, they always made sure that there was at least 8 of us kids there. But I know a bunch of people that have eaten it all by themselves. Actually, I know one guy that did it. So just to correct that, I know a lot of people who have eaten it together as a group. But there was one guy we knew named Mike from the neighborhood of Park Slope / Windsor Terrace. He was actually an oil man, and I don't want to say the last name. He's a great guy. But Mike had a penchant for food, and the man actually, my father told me the story. My father always told stories that were like accurate, and I actually knew this guy, and I'd seen him eat later on. And I'll tell you the story. On a bet, this guy Mike actually ate the entire kitchen sink by himself. And I can't even imagine the amount of lactose that he had in his stomach that he could actually do this. And the crazy part of it was he did it on a bet. So essentially, if he didn't finish the ice cream, then he had to pay for it. If the other guy, if he did finish it, then the other guy had to pay for the ice cream. So supposedly it took him about 45 minutes to eat this entire kitchen sink. And at one particular point, he actually ordered French fries because he felt like his tongue was getting frozen. So he actually ate a small order of French fries to warm his tongue up. And and then he ended up finishing the ice cream. And the guy who was, who gave him the challenge, he couldn't believe he finished it. And just as like a final dig to do one more crazy thing, Mike actually ordered an ice cream cone after eating that. So it sounds kind of unbelievable, but I had seen this guy eat. And then obviously, folks, this isn't really the right thing to do and the smart thing to do, because when this guy turned about 60 years old, from all this crazy eating that he did, he actually wore the lining out in his stomach. And he had to get like a mesh inside of his stomach because for years and years and years, he would just eat all kinds of food. He also went to Nathan's and ate like something like 25 hot dogs, and kind of did the same thing when he won the contest, ordered 2 more hot dogs to boot. So, you can't keep doing that to your body and really come out on top. But it was just amazing. So that was one guy that I knew that actually fulfilled that challenge. So back to Jan's in general, the thing that I really liked, because I didn't order the kitchen sink typically, the thing that I liked the most about Jan's was the Malteds. Now, these days it's hard to find an actual malt. If you go to Burger King or McDonald's or a lot of these ice cream places, you go to like Freezer Fresh or Mr. Softy, the ice cream trucks, you don't typically get a malt. You get a shake. Now the difference in a malt is they actually put the malt. A malt is kind of like it's kind of in beer, I guess, as well, and it's kind of like it's a sugary, tasty kind of thing, and it's not expensive. Typically, Carnation would make it, and they typically would make like a vanilla malt or a chocolate malt, and what they do is they put maybe like 2 or 3 spoons of this malt inside of like the shake or the malted, and they put the ice cream in there, they put the milk in there, and it gives it like a sweeter, sugary taste. So technically that's a malted. So I used to typically get the Malteds at Jan's, and the thing that I love the most, I mean, this is just stuff you don't see anymore. They had these ice cream mixers, like the machines that actually, mixed up the ice cream. So I would get a vanilla malted, kind of like a black and white type of thing, and I would put they would put chocolate syrup in it for me. But when they brought it out, they would give you like this glass that was always so cold. I guess they put them in the refrigerator, and they would put the glass out there. But what was really cool though is they had a metal silver cup that they used to mix up the ice cream, and they would pour it in. They'd put a cherry on top of it, but they would make so much of it that typically there would always be maybe like 3 or 4 inches of it left on the side. So not only would they give you the shake, they would give you like that extra portion. Like I really needed that. They would give you that extra portion on the side, and it would just be awesome. It would just taste great. So folks, there is good news. If you guys are missing Jan's, I really didn't notice, but there's actually still a Jan's in existence. It exists over in Queens. It's in the Flushing part of Queens, and I don't recall the exact address right now, but if you look it up, it's going to be in Queens. And I had gone there once after a Mets game, because I'm a big Mets fan, and the thing that I noticed, this was like 2 years ago, the thing that I noticed was that not a lot of people were buying ice cream. I mean, you go in there, they do have the kitchen sink, they do have all of these other ice cream products, sundaes and shakes and malteds and all these other kind of things. But what I noticed in this particular Jan's was that even though other Jan's had food, people mostly were buying the food. It seemed like it was more of like a diner. So I went in there and we ordered food actually too. I remember ordering the cheeseburger and fries, and it was really good. It was like a steak burger. It was well done, and they had onion ring fries, and they had onion rings, and they had I think they had tater tots as well. One thing I wasn't crazy about, and you know me, I'm a Coca-Cola guy, was that they were serving Pepsi. But as always, like I say, I took one for the team, and I had the Pepsi, had the burger. It was really actually good, and then of course I had a sundae afterwards. As I say, folks, these Jan's were very iconic, and they were part of our childhood, part of a lot of people's childhood. If you guys are watching out there, please let me know, which one did you go to? There were quite a few of them. I believe there were 30 of them in all. So what was your favorite thing? Did you ever finish the kitchen sink? How many people did you go with when you did it? I'd love to hear. I'd love to find out. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love for you to subscribe if that's possible for you, and hopefully it is. Subscribing to the channel is free, and we are starting a Suicide Prevention Foundation for my son. We lost my son in August of 2019. It's going to be called the Waffles Foundation. We are waiting for our official 501c to come in, and once that happens, we are going to be giving out musical instruments to kids in need, and just kind of spreading the good word and helping kids become musicians. And kids who can't afford to play are going to be able to play, because my son was a great musician. He was a fantastic lead guitarist, and you could actually see some of his music on my channel. We have a website already for the Waffles Foundation. It's www.wafflesfoundation.org. We also have an email, wafflesfoundation@gmail.com. If you'd like to donate some musical instruments, that'd be wonderful. Folks, have a great, wonderful, awesome day. I'll see you in the next video. And go to Jahn's, have yourself a kitchen sink. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.